Hello everyone, I am Carolina and I'm here from Making Life. And with me we have Dottoressa MariaLuisa Nolli, co-founder and CEO of NCN Bio.
Hi everybody, thank you for this opportunity. I'm MariaLuisa Nolli, as Carolina said, and I'm in the field of health biotech since 90. The focus of my activity is today with this new adventure as NCN Bio, my last company, is to focus on the industrial tech transfer of ATMPs, advanced therapy medicinal product, and biotech drugs. We work with research centers, universities, and companies in order to promote the progression of the projects using the techniques as project management, team building, team organization. My history is an history in the biotech that was born more than 30 years ago. I used to work for multinational companies, pharmaceutical multinational companies, at the beginning of the history of biotech drugs. And then at the end of 1999, I founded my first own private company called Areta International that I have sold in 2012. That was one of the first CDMO in Italy dedicated to the development and manufacturing of clinical batches of ATMPs and biotech drugs like monoclonal antibodies and recombinant proteins. At the end of the first entrepreneur history, I founded NCN Bio, and I'm here today, always dedicating myself and my team in promoting these revolutionary drugs that are changing the medicine of today and tomorrow.
There's a continuous evolution of advanced therapies that we are now talking about neuronal stem cell transplantation to cure certain neurological disease. We are talking about gene therapy for hepatic metabolic disease, as well as, of course, we are always looking for a new kind of therapies for solid tumors. What are the main steps to develop such innovative therapies, maybe from the clinical research to the production and distribution of this kind of drugs?
The development of this type of drugs is a complex trip made by many steps that start not from research clinic, but they start from R&D with the research and development of new vectors for gene therapy and CAR T therapy, and selection of the best stem cells from many tissues. Then there is the proof of concept in vitro and in vivo, with in vivo models that not always are appropriate for this type of drugs, but we have to comply with them because regulatory bodies request this type of proof of concept. Then there is the manufacturing in a dedicated GMP plant that for this type of therapies are not like sophisticated labs or called, I could call them boutique. Because they are so different from the conventional manufacturing plant of any other drugs, especially the synthetic drugs. Then after the GMP manufacturing, you produce the material that has to go to the patient for the three important steps of clinical research, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Once passing these important steps, you can apply to move to the market. And post-market is another story for this type of drugs.
So what are the real challenges that right now biotech companies, especially in Italy, have to face to bring innovation and progress to medicine?
For anti-MPs, there is a big challenge, not only for companies, but also for research center and anybody that is involved in this, because this therapy are for not for mass populations, but for the single patient or niches of patients. So, as you mentioned, the personalized medicine is transforming the medicine of today and tomorrow. So the first big challenge is this. With this type of therapies, not only gene therapy, but also cell therapies, you don't have a drug that fit for all patients, but you have a drug for a single patient. And that means that companies have to change their approach to develop this type of therapies. In fact, what happened, and today is the most successful business model approach, is that companies, especially the big companies, don't approach this type of therapy doing the research internally. Research and development, and especially the first steps internally, but they start initially with alliances with academia, research centers, small biotechs, in order to accelerate the first steps of the development of these therapies, and they finance them and they follow them until they arrive to the clinical research, especially phase 2, phase 3. And if the results are good, they decide to invest more money by licensing in the technology, or acquire the small company, or establish a more strict alliance with academia. And then they follow in this way. They can bring this type of therapies to the market, because they have the resources, economical and organizational resources. The business model that is the most successful business model for this type of therapies. So reduce the risks initially, and then when the proof of concept in clinical research is okay, they invest and they bring these therapies to the market.
Yes, I understand. Also because stem cells and gene therapy are so personalized, the cost must be very high, because the clinical research and the clinical trials 1, 2, and 3 phase are very expensive, but they are not for the mass, as you said, but for a strict number of people. So the cost remains the same, but the people who are going to buy the drug will be very less. So they have to be very secure of the success of the molecule to proceed in the phases.
Even though this business model is the most successful one, of course, these drugs have, the challenge of sustainability, because in any case, the overall cost of these therapies is a very high cost, and then the future of these therapies will meet with this challenge. Even though, especially for gene therapy or CAR T therapies, what happens with this type of drug is to substitute the wrong gene with the right gene.
Yes.
So it's a one-shot therapy, and then if you consider the cost of a chronic disease for the health system of a country per year, and you consider that in one shot, if successful, of course, you can be cured from the disease, that's an advantage. But there are many challenges to be addressed and to be solved regarding costs of this therapy, and especially the attribution to the health system of the countries of the cost. That's one of the challenges. The other one is as you mentioned at the beginning, to be able to cure not only oncological tumors, diseases, but also solid tumors. Last night was published a paper of Professor Locatelli group of Ospedale Bambin Gesù on New England Journal of Medicine regarding the cure by CAR T of neuroblastoma, and that is a terrible tumor in children, and that's this one of the proof that we are moving from rare tumors, rare diseases, ultra rare diseases, to a larger number of diseases with this type of therapies.
Thank you. You was very clear on your answers, and I really thank you for your time, Dr. Nolli.
Thank you too for the opportunity.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.